Billionaire Jeff Bezos has been in the top 3 in the list of the richest people on the planet for several years in a row. The amount of money in his account is enough to fully provide several countries, even though Jeff recently left the post of head of Amazon. It would seem that he was just very lucky, and monetary success literally sticks to him at every step. But everything is much simpler. According to the billionaire himself, everyone can repeat his success once you realize what obstacles prevent you from achieving $1 billion. Do you want to know what exactly it is about? Then watch this video to the end. Friends, before we start, subscribe to the channel and like it. Today, practically every inhabitant of our Earth knows about Amazon. But once Jeff Bezos built this company literally brick by brick from scratch. However, the year before last, after 27 years since the company was founded, Jeff Bezos left the post of head. Such news about his departure struck the whole world. You can perceive this news in different ways, but in fact it is an excellent example of how a businessman analyzed his capabilities and decided to move on, developing and trying himself in other directions. Such introspection should sometimes be carried out by each of us. Wondering how to become a billionaire because of what you have today is just the result of your actions and decisions in the past. Jeff Bezos himself has repeatedly admitted in his interviews that it is not difficult to make money. It is much more difficult to get enough money, and also the main thing is to understand at every stage of your life what exact amount of money is needed. Everyone wants to earn a lot, but no one describes a specific figure. I always knew exactly how much money I needed at every stage of my life. They either are or they are not. And he also knew exactly where they were going, Bezos claims. 80% of people don't even notice how their hard-earned money suddenly evaporates. And all of this happens because of a few habits that clearly prevent you from pushing off the financial bottom and surfacing prosperity and well-being. Let's move on to this list of habits. You are afraid to take risks. We have all heard the proverb, "A bird in the hand is worth two in the bush," more than once because it has been hammered into our subcortex since childhood. But it is this statement that has ruined the way of thinking of many people and prevents us from achieving success. This is not the best advice that can be given to a child or even an adult. If you work at an average job and get an average salary, then of course it's always scary to give up everything and start something new, because you risk losing something good in pursuit of a better one. But rewind your life a few years ahead and think for the future. Are you ready to be content with this average standard of living all your life? Of course, no one is urging you to burn bridges and quit everything at once. Any risky action should be thought out and have a plan and calculations that increase the success in a new business. In the end, you can start your own business in parallel with the current work. And only when you achieve better results in a new business, you should think about the prospect of choosing your activity. You are completely satisfied with what you have. Of course, being content with what you have is an integral part of a happy life, but happiness ends where there is no development and progress. It is important to be content with what you have, but also try to strive for even better. If you take some steps only after the magic pencil of your family or employer, then this way of thinking will not lead to success. No one is obliged to pull you and force you to do anything. If everything is bad for you, then guess who is to blame? Right, you. You don't think big. Surely, you have at least once watched a reality show about people from disadvantaged families. Have you paid attention to the mindset of the participants on this show? For example, such cases when a person is given a not so large amount of money, such as $500 or $1,000, and he says, "Finally, I can buy anything. I have always dreamed about this." That is, for a person to have his wishes come true, he only needs $500. Of course, we in no way to value a person's desires and dreams, because each of us has our own level of goals and desires. But we'll make the same mistake, wanting too little and devaluing our capabilities and potential. Often you turn into a lifelong dream these goals that can be achieved in a couple of years or even faster. Start thinking bigger, as if you have no boundaries or limitations. You are not growing professionally. To get paid a lot of money, you don't have to go into IT or drastically change your profession to a higher paying one. You can have an ordinary working profession, but you have to be unique and different from other professionals. If you perform your tasks better than others, you will also be paid more than others. Employers will seek you out themselves and lure you to their company for better conditions and salary if you're worth it. But remember, to get there, you have to invest in yourself, in your skills and knowledge, and work hard. You don't take responsibility. This habit starts with little things and extends to more important decisions in life. You never admit fault and always look for someone to blame for your failures. You're late for work because of traffic. You didn't advance in your career because of a bad boss. You don't watch your figure because there are no fitness gyms near your home. You look for a culprit for all your failures. As for money, there is a direct correlation between your willingness to take responsibility for your quality of life and the size of your income. Of course, you will not fall on you at once millions of dollars as soon as you change your attitude to life, but the chances to make at least a small fortune and improve the quality of your life will be much greater. You are not trying to open your own business. Hired work is a relatively reliable and stable option, but you always have a salary ceiling. It's always about plus or minus the same amount. You start managing your income when it directly depends on the efforts made. For example, you're a foreign language teacher. If you work for a salary, no matter how many lessons you have taken, your salary will be the same. But with piecework, you can spend 5 private lessons in one day and earn $250, or you can spend 10 lessons and earn $500. The example is exaggerated, but you understand the logic. Everything is in your hands. Of course, your business is not easy. However, the principle works here when at the beginning you invest 90% of the effort and get 10% of the result. But in the future, with properly structured processes, it will be enough to put only 10% of the effort to get 90% of the result. In the case of employment, this principle works very rarely or doesn't work at all. You spend absolutely all the money. This is the most common and frequent habit of a poor person. As soon as a person has additional income, this money is instantly spent. It's one thing when these expenses have their justification and urgent needs. It's another thing when this money is spent on unnecessary things. The most interesting thing is, when a person's income increases, this habit remains. That is, at first it was because of necessity. There were simply not enough funds. But later, this habit is transferred to higher earnings. Therefore, no matter how much you earn, learn to save. Now you know where the phrase "I don't understand where the money goes, legs are growing." It's very easy to figure out where earnings disappear. You just need to start monitoring expenses. Of course, not everyone can be rich and successful. It depends only on the person's thinking and level of ambition. The road of some is built on the mistakes of others, but it is also impossible to sit and do nothing. Try to change your life every day. Try something new. Develop. You may not become the richest person on earth, but you can come to a very comfortable and financially secure life. Realize that the amount of money is just a motivation that will make you develop and reach new heights. If this video was useful to you, then put a like and share this video with your friends.